Hello, everyone. I feel like this is a good song to, like, come in on because we're about to fuck shit up and rip and tear. I'm so excited. I was like, do I have anything to do on Thursday? I was like, oh, I don't, which means we get to play video games. So excited. Hopefully I set it up so that way my computer can handle everything. How to minimize things and, like, basically make the game the full thing, but hopefully it'll be okay. I'm ready in here to bonk. Okay, I'm coming. I'm ready for bonkus. Okay, we're at 90%. Because there's a little lag on the start of, like, redeems, but I think that's better than before, so I think that's alright. Truck. Alright. I'm just gonna turn that off for now. Turn this back up. Turn up like a little bit. There we go. Goodbye, good to biz with you. Goodbye. Have a great day. Alright. Hopefully I don't lag too much. If I do, please let me know. But let's fucking get to ripping and tearing today. I forgot what I was doing. I need my dragon. And let's see. Destroy the hell carriers. That's right. Oh, okay. I think I'm on. Nope. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I'm doing whatever the fuck this is. Let's go. Oh. Alright, the big boy enforcers. Enforcers are high priority targets maintain a group of that maintain a group of empowered demons. The empowered demons are faster, have more health, killing the enforcers with other people. Okie dokie. Right, I have to parry in this one, right? When they do green attacks. This is not like the weapon that I want, to be honest. I want this one. Yep, fuck, bitch. I'm on my A game today. I started gaming with this today. Oh, I forgot the button to throw my shoulder. Shotgun time? Oh shit. Give me that shield, boy. Get dead! Fuck yeah. Excuse me, I'm just gonna grab this health pack real quick. Get dead. Ooh. Hog. Was there a secret around here? Oh, it's the Kodak. I gotta grab the Kodak. Or this new weapon. New weapon! Oh shit, isn't that a shotgun? Double barrel shotgun? Oh my god! Man, I miss playing Doom. That's a mood. That's how I felt when this game came out. The super shotgun deals devastating damage at close range. It reloads slowly and much less effective long range. That's fine. The super shotgun is the shotgun class. Press F to switch between guns, weapon class, on the fly. You can also switch. Okay. Okie dokie. I go this way. I cannot. Alright, it's gonna have to be like a go around kind of thing. Whoa! 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 Ha ha ha! Bitch! Don't give me today. Hey guys, excuse me. Oh. Wait, it's gotcha. Let's get up on you. There's a secret over here? What secret will you give me? Okay, I think I'm supposed to go this way. What's up, guys? Oh no! Oh no, those silly billies, they're dead now. Ooh, what's in here? Gold? Ammo? And shucks, uh-oh. What's up, babies? Oh shit, there's a lot of things. Oh my god. I was gonna say, that would have been very short if that was all. Oh, that's a bigger boy! Oh, that's a bigger boy! Oh my god, I fucking shot his fucking arm off, bro! Holy shit! When they said the shotgun's good up close, they weren't fucking around, my god! Oh my god! Holy shit, no, give me that shotgun back. No, sir, give me this back. Codex found. Oh, right. Gotta pin those. I think those are the same as before. Go this way. Don't fuck with me, man. Oh my god. I have to get more of the glory kill things, cause I need more ammo. I only have 4 shotgun shots left in this. What the fuck is that? Was that a fucking egghead? What the fuck was that? It looked weird. That was spooky. It's a puzzle. Okay. Deal with that later. I'm gonna go this way. Okay. What's this way? Oh, it just threw me into it. Alright, we're here. What's going on, motherfucker? Boop. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? No one? Oh. I have to go. I'm presuming I go. No, this is a thing. Gold. Oh wait, no, I have to do the melee, right? Oh! Who invited you? Oh my god. Excuse me. Ooh, Jesus. I wish there was a better signifier that those guys spawn, to be honest. Cause like, it's kind of hard to tell when they do, unless you're like, oh, that's a big guy. Oh, that's not a big guy. Oh. What the fuck? That scared the shit out of me. Ooh. I am missing loot. I missed loot over here. Well, probably have to come back around, I think. Because I can't get back up that way, so I'll probably be able to come back around, I think. Ooh. Hello, bye. Ow. Oh. I need more ammo. Okay, wait, did it going a little bit fast here, buckarines? Oh shit, they're all dead. Woo! Oh right, and the low health sound gave me PTSD. That's valid. Let me pick a different guy. Shredder. Let's do this. Yeah, let's see this one, because this one has a thing on it that I like. Oh, that doesn't. Oh. I thought it was gonna be like a boss fight. We have to re-land on it, big boy. We have to re-land on that. What a bug. Oh, hello, Candy. I need the... What the fuck? I'm glad you turned white. I did. There was a flashback. Okay. Hold on. What the fuck? Did I just go too fast through it? I might have gone too fast through it. Oh no! What? You can re-land on those, right? Can I not re-land them? I didn't get all the secrets from this one. Do I have to restart from the beginning? I guess I will. I don't mind, really. Might be better, though, so that way I know what I'm doing anyway. Alrighty. Oh yeah, oh yes! Yeah, we can skip this then. But I think I did pistol only run the highest difficulty for Doom in 2016, and the amount of times I had low health was insane. No, that's so valid. Hi Lane, I can't say, but I'm here to say hi, Jeffy! Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Thank you for the check-in. Actually, this is actually a really good refresher course. Of course, I can't miss screen. If I do, I'm either dead or sick. Understandable. Press and hold. Right. Yep. Okay, I put the clips in the clip. What are these clips about? Have an amazing dream. Thank you, Chef Bay. Thank you for the alert. Hope you have an amazing day. Yeah, I remember these ones. Oops, I did the same thing I did last. I think this one I did faster because I actually did it right. Ooh, alright. Oh, right. This makes the fighter definitely. God, I love this dragon. Alright, be right back, Puppercini. Whee! Thank you for the boo. And the bomb. Hello, Rhino. Alright. Look at him, my big baby. Alright, let's get back on him. Woo! How you liking Doom? I fucking love it! We did a kaiju fight earlier. It was fucking great. Alright.
Those ships are powering the force field around the main cathedral. The demons
I kinda wanna see if I can find... Oh, the secrets first? Nope, not this one. Yeah, okay. Dismount to secret lane. Let's see if I can find a... This is one of them. Eat him! Oh. We just snapped his neck. Understand. This This is one of the secret ones, which is pretty good on ammo, I think. What is this egg thing? This egg face? Maybe it's health? Hey guys, how's it going? Having a good day? Hope so. It's about to be your last. Oh shit. Gives you health and shield. Oh, thank you. I did not know that. Controller. Is it big? I can make it small. Is it like, it's not heavy. There you go. Come on. What's up? Oh, little baby men, little baby people. Yeah. I find it big. I think it's like perspective, right? Because like if it was closer to the camera, it'd be bigger, you know? I didn't get the overhead one. Anybody else? Little babies. Okay. Is there anybody? Or is it there? Big in a good way, understandable. Yeah. Get all the coinage. I think so. There's still epic battle music like sometimes here, but I don't see anyone else. Unless it's stuff. Oh my god! Hey, what's up, dude? Fancy seeing you here. Did not realize that you were maybe here. I like that you can parry in this game. That's nice. You need a start. You need a start. Yes! Rip him in half! Yes! 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 I didn't know you could like walk out of the way of the arrow. Aw. I don't think you can get like an upper or like a from above kind of glory kill on him. It seems like you could for others, but you can't for him because he's so high. Can you change that when you have a chain shield? Someone help me, please. Hello. Any other secrets? No, I got all the secrets. Alright, now where's the other one? It have like a green eye upon it, I suppose. Because that podium looks different than the other ones. Unless the other one that's a secret is down below. Because there's like a way to go down. Could be it. Way to go below this. Is it this thing? Oops, sorry. Might have just been that. It wasn't. Always bad at timing that first. Rip. Good job. Good job, my little puppercini. Yeah, it might have been this one. But I didn't do this one. Yeah, cool. Yolo. There's a good bit of stuff on this one. Glad I came back for it. Let me go that way. Excuse me. I didn't know there was someone I was gonna have to fight right away. I mean, hey, if you want, you could open that door for me, you know? We'll go this way. Woo! Oh, this is saying I need the red card. Okay. Okay, I can stay for a few minutes. Yippee! Looks like I'm gonna have to go down and around. Oh, hey guys! Oh! Whoops! Didn't know the stomping of my colossal fucking boots would have killed you, but hey. I'm not against it. Look. Are you able to use the hornet thingy? I mean, I can, but I'm playing Doom, you know? And I also don't have Silk Song, because I don't have money for Silk Song. Weapon skin, equip, and the dossier. Is this it? No, not this one. This one. It was for this gun, I believe? X weapon skins. Oh, okay, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the monies for it. I don't have the. Did I skip the thing? I think I missed that. Was it not? Oh no, there's a continuing. There's no? Am I just a little confused little silly Billy? Oh, it's a drop down thing. Ah, okay, so what your stream? I'm streaming Doom. I'm streaming Doom. What the fuck? What the fuck, brother? It's this thing. Open that thing. This thing, which I can't open because of a different thing. I'm presuming it's this thingy. Is there something that I'm missing? Ah. I may have run around a little bit too much. Water? Holy shit, I'm swimming! I'm swimming as the Doom guy! Can't wait for the water. No, what you're streaming. So, oh, my Steam? Oh, it's connected to my, it's connected to my, Sam Wintertide, welcome on in. Thank you for the follow. Let me see. Where's my friend code? There you go. This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. Hello, how are you? Welcome on in. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Happy Silk Song Day. I guess in technicality, that would be today. Come in. Oh, did I get it? Am I too fat? I think I was a little bit. Woohoo! Hello, money. Did I get everything? I did not. I have to. Oh, right. I have to use the red key card to go get the money. And then I can see it again. Money. And it's always on. And ooh, a ruby. I almost missed the ruby. You know the big shiny thing in the middle of the screen? I'm loading. Versus upgrade shine. Right. Hello, pupper. What a good little boy. Alright, cool. Now that we've done all the main ones, I can just go and do the other ones. Woohoo! I do have to destroy the hell carriers, though, so I might want to do that next. Thank you for the alert. What is it on the hell carrier? There's one. Know your tricks and I'm bad at. Oh, fuck. Okay. I was asking what I was watching and I panicked and I said, a robot. Beep, beep, boop. I'm a robot. Hi, guys. Bone jaw, yes. Beep, beep, boop, beep, beep, boop, 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 boop. Where the fuck did that hell carrier go? Yeah. Oh, there's one. Fog. Alright, I just need to find one more. Where's the other one? Do I also have to destroy these? I don't really understand what these are for. I always react like sooner than it appears when I Is there a hell carrier in here? There was! Oh shit. What the fuck? Come back here, you little bitch. Yeah, I got you now. Ooh, I like that it bleeds. Yeah, it's cool. Oh, alright. I think the cults are just on the ships, if I'm correct. Like, just, like, they're on. Keep hitting in spacebar. There she blows! Oh, this is the one that we fucked up on and get all this.
Mark the engine.
1 second, boss! I'll rip and tear in 10 seconds. My apology. Oh my god, I just looked at my friends list and like 3 of my friends are playing Silksong right now. That's so funny.
On the hell ship.
Thank you, sir. Where am I going? Oh, this way. Right. Because there's a gun over here that I need. I just remembered. Gimme. Yes. Oh, fuck. I didn't know if I would be able to get that. You know, I'm really focused on your dad here right now, you know? That's more than anything. I want that weapon. I want my super shotgun back. We need to have a new co-brain mount. My vote is Titanfall 3. Please. it still didn't work. Damn, you really can't get these from above headshots or glory tokens. You can't on this one though! Is Titanfall 3? Yeah, Titanfall 3 is a game, right? They just haven't made another one in a while because they did Apex next, I believe? Super shotgun. We're never in a million years getting. Oh! Oh, I get it, because you have Silksong now, so we need. Yes! Hey, it's a good vote. I like the vote. Oh my god. It's a good. I'll go with it. Titanfall 3, guys, win. I love it so much. I love it so much. It's such a good god. This leaves me up and around. Made Titanfall 2, but not 3. I've been waiting for 3 since 2016. That's what I'm saying. Look, we got Silksong. We're obviously gonna get the next one, right? Yeah, I just can't go here yet. I wonder, is there a way for me to fall down here? Go down. Yeah, but how do I get back up now? Wait, I think I was supposed to. Whoa, Jesus Christ! What's up? You have no arms. Ow! Bitch. I was reveling in the fact that this was a fun gun. E? Swoop! He did a little swoop! You guys see that he did a little swoosh? Oh, that was so cute! He did a little swoosh! Oh! Oh, wait, I wanna look at it! I wanna look at my toys! Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I forgot, what is it in? Is it in extras? Collectibles viewer? Soldier. Surat, is that the one? Surat! Look at my baby! Look at it! Wait, I'm like in the way. Hold on. Look at me! I love you. I love you! I want him on my desk. Okay, alright. So we got that. I think, okay, looking at it, looks like we need to go outside and around. Hello? Hello? Is that one of the big ships? I think so. Yeah. Alright, fix that. Open that. I'm gonna go downstairs and grab this. And then we'll fight. I only have 3 ammo in this one. I can do like a melee only one off if I wanted to, I guess. Like melee only, but it doesn't really do an AoE effect to the melee, except for when you bash him with a shield. So I was hoping like just doing like that. Fine. I mean, they can't have 2 good melee AoEs in my one. Bro, that chunked him in half. I'm also waiting for Ace Combat 8. That reminds me of like, in our Discord, in the Discord I have with my friends that I play with offline. They have like every month we change our names to different themes. This month it is games that got canceled or are probably never gonna come out, and I think that's fucking hilarious. I'm hightail right now. Son of no! I want the ruby. How do I get said ruby? Do I have to jump down here? Okay, well, I'm going down here anyway. Oh, hey, what's up? How did... Okay. Okay. Ooh, here we go. Thank you, elevator. Didn't really solve my... Oh! Solve my problem. Thank you very much. I miss having my own ship. In the last one, we got our own ship and it was nice. Fuck, I got chocolate on my pants. I look like a doo-doo baby. No, no. I'm so sorry that you look like a doo-doo baby. It's okay. It's okay. I still love you even though you're a doo-doo baby. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit, that hurts. Jesus. Alright, I know that there's guys that are gonna come on here and try to hurt my people. These are like overpowered. What's empowering? Not a doo-doo baby, it's chocolate. Well, I still love you. Even though there somehow is chocolate that makes your pants look like you. Smooth like butter. Oh right, it's this guy down here. That's right, I forgot. That's secret. Yeah, I think I got all the secrets now. It's just insane, in my opinion, how fast you can go through a lot of these levels. Making sure one more time. Yeah, we're good. Whoop. Oh, whoopsie doopsie. Yeah. That's all of it. And then I can just go. Boop. I like that it looks like an eyeball. Alright, where are we going next? I think that's the next closest one. Oh no, I went the wrong way! I technically moved for that one. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my hand did hit the button. It's absolutely edited. I need to... Okay, before we start this one, I need to go to the restroom really quick, so I'm gonna be right back. Be right back. I gotta go back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I didn't allow myself to take too long. I'm back. Boop. Welcome back. Thank you. Alright. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sorry, excuse me. I just want to reset my face tracking real quick. Oh, I forgot. I was like, I'm turned. It could be turned. Hey guys. Oh, this is not the gun I want right now. Excuse me, hold on. Do now. I need this. Oh, I just realized meleeing just gives you, if you just melee them, it'll give you ammo. Shotgun ammo. Ooh, too much chocolate. Do you look like a bigger poopy baby now, or do you just have a lot of chocolate that you're coming from first now? Am I missing secrets? That's interesting. So I guess not all of them have secrets. This one looks like it might be a boss fight, or at least a mini fight. Yeah, it's gonna rip very hard. Holy shit! Holy shit! Ow, 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 ow! What the fuck, dude? I've never fought one of you before. I wasn't ready for this. Oh my god, I wasn't ready for. Oh my god, I was. Holy shit! Oh. Lift off one of your arms, huh? Big. Okay, I'm so bad at hacking. Just punch him. I just fucking punched him to death. This fucking big ass demon. Yo, that's fucking crazy. Oh wait, I almost missed some gold. I don't want to miss any gold. Give me my gold. My stummy heart. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your stomach hurts. If you need to lay down if you can, it will probably help. What that is? Oh, there was another one. Oh, I'm the wrong way again. I'm sorry, my little wagon. Mama's not very good at dodging. I'm good at kicking things asses. I think this is one of the ones with a secret in it, I think. Methinks? Okay, Vexed. If it also makes you feel any better, my tummy hurts a little bit too. I think I drank my Ministry a little bit too quick, and now my tummy's like cold. None of this. I said none of this. What are you gonna do now, big guy? Got no more armor left. Made him a little twink. A little twink with that one. Fuck yeah, brother. Oh, I think I come back. This is the one where we come back into the ship, I think. Yeah, I think so. Stop. Yeah, upgrade something here. There's an upgrade, Dad. Oh, I missed. Yeah, there you go. Oh, what you gonna do now, big boy? Your rider's gone. Let's go. I ate some bread and drank some water, so now I just need to chill out. Understandable. I hope you feel better soon. I hope it'll make you feel better to watch you rip and tear people apart. Hello. I need to borrow you. I want to do this one. This one. The first hit of your power gauntlet by the combo shot, please. Oh yeah, I think I did this last time. But I didn't. But because I restarted it, gave them to me back. Let's see. I have this one. Power surge. Energy shields that are. Oh, yes. Wait, what? Wait. Oh, I have that one. Okay. An extended reach. Yes! Extended reach! I'm just gonna buy all these. Wait, what is this one? The shield will recover faster from taking damage and also recover faster after breaking. It breaks? Oh, I see. Killing multiple fodder demons with shield throw will empower your next shield charge, allowing it to deal increased damage to the primary target. Not bad. This one costs 2. Okay. I'm all kitted out for my melee build. Is there a secret down here? I think there might be. My disc is at 100, but I'm not running any Oh shit! Hold on, wait. I've had that happen to me. Hold on. Disc. And there's like a weird trick. What Windows version are you running? Usage. Oh shit! It's a weird thing. I forgot. What is it? It's like a weird setting you have to turn off. Utility box. Scan now. Services tab. I'm gonna do a quick restart. Okay, if it's still doing it, let me know because I've had that problem like 100 times before. Like on my computer at least once. And then once you turn it off, it's like fine. I love the way they fall for me. Underwater, right? That's where I go? Yeah, I gotta go lower. I hope there's like full ass underwater levels. Okay, hi, I've been lurking, but I can chat for a little bit now before my class starts. Welcome on in. Happy to have you here, Canadian. I hope you enjoy our day of ripping and tearing. Oh, I'm gonna need that. It says there's an extra life on the map. I'm gonna need that. I may have gotten a little bamboozled earlier by the fucking big ass demon that I didn't realize was gonna be on the ship. Hold on, I got. Okay, bye. Oh, right, I have to get the blue key card, which is up there, which means I have to go this way. Oh shit, he's invisible. Oh wait, is he still there? I can't see. Oh, you were behind me, diddling my butthole. That's a little rude. That's a little rude. I don't know this way yet. I won't go this way. Elevator! Welcome on in. Oh shit, oh my god. Are those the... I wonder if those are the Kako demons in this one. Kako's demons I feel like have 2 canonical looks in Doom. They're either the floating demon skulls or they're like the big fuck off round boys. I'm not sure with this one, because I could definitely see them being the skulls instead of the round boys design. Also, welcome on in, Condemned. I hope you're having a lovely day. We're ripping and tearing today. And thank you guys for the check-ins. Alright, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, I'm dumb. Steam is updating a game that's definitely heavy burn. Ah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That would do it. I'm going to jump off the wrong way. I need to jump up this way. Unreal is hurting my brain a little bit, but I should be good. Understandable. Unreal does suck donkey dookie. If there's ever a day where you're working on Unreal stuff, you're just kind of hanging out, let me know. I also have Unreal stuff that I have to do at some point, so I can lag with ya. What should I play? You played Risk of Rain 2 the other day, right? You can play some more of that. Digitalart sequence. I did. Okay. What's up, bitches? Spawn away. I thought you were in front. Fuck you, big old bitch. Yeah, fuck now you gonna do, huh? No armor? Hot Kiwi! I'm a lot better at this one than I was with that fucking huge ass demon because I wasn't expecting him. To be fair though, I think that was like the last ship that I had it done in the last game, in the last round of this one, so I guess it makes sense that I wasn't. Oh, son of a bitch. That's crazy. Rip his heart out! Eat it! Yippee! Alright. I'm just gonna go grab this over here. Do a weird head thing. Really wish that was a different model, to be honest. But it's okay. Where are we going now? I keep pressing M. We're going down here. Alright, this is like the little passageway, right? Fighter jet mode. That is pod racing, guys. Oh. I didn't realize those were spikes until I had to like hear that one time. Oh wait, that's to ascend. This is a descent. Wait, does this? Oh, it does. So I have one more collectible and a bit more. Okay, presuming it's gonna come with this one. I just saw fucking dead body ragdoll as my dragon landed. What's up, motherfucker? Who's ready to party? Alright, where's the secret? It's a secret over. Hey, what's up, my dude? Very hard to be scared of you when I can see you. Silly goobers. Silly goober, I can see you this time. Especially when you're dead. Oh, there's another invisible one. Okay, no more secret. Secret across the room. Oh, what's up, big guy? Is my super shotgun? Those guys. Explode the shit out of you with my shotgun. Oh, little baby has no more arms. Oh shit. Oh, you guys would have been like a little aftermath. Oh, new weapon! New weapon! Oh my god, there's so many new weapons in this one. What's this one? It's the cycler? Oh, this is another, like, electrified weapon. A cycler fires powerful plasma strikes at moderate rate of fire. As a plasma weapon, it can quickly overload enemy shields to generate explosive damage. The cycler is the second of the plasma rifle class guns. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Any more secret? Should we worry? What do you mean? You should never worry. I'm just having a good time. I'm just having a good time. Listen, all these times, all these days that Elaine is like calm and chill, you know, you get those a majority of the time, you know. But then there's just sometimes, like right fucking now, where I just want to rip and tear everything apart into tiny pieces. Well, that's what this is for, right? That's what they wanted me to have this weapon for. Oh wait, this would be good. Usage of my shield. Oh, hello. Anyone else? No? Alright, I want to try. Oh, seeing my shield just rip through a bunch of the tiny little guys is so satisfying. Hi. Why? No more secrets. Wanted to make sure. Boop. Oh, I didn't go through as many of them as I was hoping. What's it? Ooh, you wanna give me more ammo? Yeah, you guys thank you. Alright, okay, there's a little loot below me. Hold on, I want my loot first. There we go. I think that's everything. 24. Yeah, I got everything for this map. Hog! That's alright. Ooh, things are on fire. Fly to the heart. Fly to the heart chamber. This thing has a heart chamber? What the fuck? It's like, oh, I wish I didn't go so fast, but actually this is quite of a long task, actually. Let's go! Hello! Ah, I see. Just...
Balin, move into position.
Yes, Valen. Move into position while I rip and tear all the demons apart in the actual city. Simultaneously. Oh, hello. I don't think I have anything. I should upgrade. Oh, super shotgun! Not enough currency. Fuck. Okay. We'll just buy this. Acquire all shield upgrade under the base category. Bog. Okay, let's see. Combat shotgun. I'm gonna be using the super shotgun mostly. The cycler, dealing enough damage to a demon. The cycler applies shock. Ooh, that actually sounds quite nice. Killing a demon with a pulverizer or melee, he builds charge based on the size of the demon. I won't go with that one. I probably like that one. Hello. Oh, there's a big boss fight down there, isn't there? Oh, that's a lot of guys. Oh, that's a lot of guys. Okay. Hello. What's up, dude? Dead. Oh, I like the electricity, like, art. It's nice. Oh, there's no brother there. Oh, what the fuck, did I miss it? I might have missed it. He was a little bit far away. Yeah. I don't know, this weapon's like alright. I feel like it doesn't pack a punch as hard as the... Woo! You! I hate you! Oh my god, I don't like this one. I remember this one from the last Doom. Doom Eternal? Oh, and they have secondary armor. Wait, did I fight this one before? I just don't think I saw him in the chaos of everything. Excuse yourself. Take all the babies. Oh, I did not mean to get close. Ow, 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 ow. I'd be very interested in seeing someone try to do like almost like a no-hit run of this, just because like there's so much fucking, and I'm sure that I'm not sure because of how like much stuff is happening to you all at once in this game, but it'd be very interesting if there is like a almost like a no-hit run for a game like this. Yeah, what you gonna do now, you fucking arachnid bitch? You're exposed! Your left titty's exposed! Yes! Where we go? Where we go? Oh, there you are. I wonder if I could get a glory shot in back. That's fine. I'll punch will do. What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? No-hit run insanity. I tried it and failed. I thought there was a no-hit speedrun already. I wouldn't be surprised. I guess I'm just now thinking about it because like I avoided a lot of like media content around Doom Dark Ages because I knew I was gonna play it eventually. So I don't know what people have and haven't done in this game yet. Is this the normal one? This is the normal one. Oh, he just died. Okay, King Novak. I'm just gonna pick up some ammo. I'm just gonna pick up some things on the floor if you don't mind. I don't have a lot of health and stuff, so I just want to make sure I got everything here. This is a super shot. Yeah, this is the double. This is the single. Just want to be sure. I wonder what the time is for the no-hit speedrun. Not that I would personally ever do it, because games like this, I like to take my time. As much as my attention span can hold, you know? So it's kind of like... Hey, what's up, bitches? Oh shit, are we gonna kill him already? Oh, dodging for cowards and fragile babies. Dodging for cowards. Take hits and feed them back to your enemies with a shove. With a shovel? Fuck yeah! Oh my god, Doomslayer with a Doomslayer shovel? That reminds me of Hollow Knight. What are you doing? What you doing? What's that? Looks like a uterus. I said that, now mine hurts. Oh, it's King Novak! Fuck him up, King Novak! I believe in you! I think it's King thing.
Ignite the charges.
That guy's skinny. I like that I have a game. Oh, are we just beating people up on this one? Oh, they beat me up. Ew. Dude, get the mic, dude. Did we take the vagina thing? Did we take the necklace? Oh, I think it was the Heart of Argent. Oh, we did. By demons, so I actually doubt that there were any fauna. So rad. I was actually wondering what his name was because I kind of forgot. Woo! The Siege Part 1. Beep, 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 beep. Sentinel strong.
The ships are refueling, sire. We should be ready to leave as soon as the cruisers are done loading.
Very good. Get to your ship. I thought you left for the command station. Everyone is evacuating.
So you are holding on to it?
Until we get to the location. A new vault is being built.
Then let the Slayer guard it.
If what they say is true, then this is a part of our heritage, not the Makers. Valen, are you seeing anything?
I don't think... I think I'm part of your kin. I'm just
sir.
kidnapped by the Makers, man.
Maybe he didn't survive.
Ah, I suppose. Do you not see that Maker ship above you? I'm just saying, man.
Demonic threat level increasing.
What am I breaking out? Texture Doom. Oh my god, did you clip him not having a face? Very valid. That was very jarring in my opinion. I thought he was invisible.
Should we launch the Slayer now? The Sentinels will be overrun.
And what about us?
Shut the fuck up, bro. Nobody likes you. I don't like you at the very least. Yeah, snap out of it, brother. Snap out of it. It's reminding me of the place, my Earth. Dude, I really want to pause and like look up an essay video on why, on like the story thus far, because I kind of know the story, but I don't really. I broke free. Look at his eyes. His freed eyes. Yippee. I'm about to rip you guys to shreds. I'm about to rip your twinky little alien arms apart, brother. I think they should just deploy me. No! No! Fight it! Yes, brother. Ooh, y'all fucked up. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do the thing. He's gonna do the thing where he rips it out of him. He's gonna do it.
Turn it off before he kills us all!
Blaine, I can't keep clipping you being out of pocket. I don't know what you want from me. I love Doom. Nuts.
It would appear that the Slayer no longer wishes to be detained here.
That's saying it lightly, brother.
And destroy the Conmaker's prized possession.
34.
So long as he has that tether on him,
33.
we can still have a hand in his fate.
32.
New graphic tablet showed up. It's 3-7. Wait. Oh shit, he came back. Oh, the texture I like loaded. Oh, this is sick. I think I do need to like do this analysis of like what has happened so far in Doom.
Sound the alarm! Prepare for battle!
King Novik, there is an urgent call from the Creed Maker.
Lord Novik, a large horde is headed toward your position. We are launching the Slayer now. Please send forces immediately to ensure our safety.
Thank you, Bishop Creed.
Yeah, she had to step in, you know, say some nasty shit to him. They could have sent the Slayer down sooner. And the Slayer could have helped. Twinkie.
By the gods.
Oh shit, that shit looks sick though.
Engaging deflector shield.
Dude, that's fucking
It's a
sick.
massive
Force. 3 legions worth.
But I'm here and I'm sentient, bitches. I like her, she's pretty. I thought she was a traitor, but she's not. It was just the communications between the makers.
The hangar is blockaded, sire. No one can get in or out.
Except for me. Hold on. I really need to know the lore. Doom lore. Explained summary 2025. We're gonna go into this deep dive. I'm just gonna do this as I can. Oh, window capture. Oh, what? Shit, this was the wrong one. I wanted desktop capture. Okay. Here we go. Oh, do we have a Dwayne Johnson Doom movie suggestion list? Ew, what? Is he in those? He wouldn't. I feel like he wouldn't make a good Doomslayer, in my opinion. All right, hold on. We're gonna listen to music. Okay. 11 months ago, 51 and 2 as a child at the time. Demon's bad, rip and tear. He's not the Slayer. Okay, thank God. But then I'd be down. Okay. Here's a good paragraph. Never mind. I don't want to listen to music. Oh no, Andrea said ew. Oh boy, I've been waiting so long to answer this question. This is from memory, so it's got to be wrong in parts. Feel free to correct me. In short, while he stays in hell after saving first Mars then Earth in the original 2 games, Doom Guy, almost but not literally superhuman marine, experiences all of Doom 64, Doom mods, WODs, and so much and such more or less being hurled through the multiverse of Doom's hell. Eventually he is spit out at the doorstep of the Sentinel civilization we know from Doom Eternal. They learn from him about the demon's existence while Doom Guy earns his way up their ranks. The Makers, after learning about the hell and demonic argent energy, inevitably sell the Sentinels out to the forces of hell for their own gain. Fuck! I knew I didn't like the Makers. And at the time the war between the Sentinels and demons fully break out, Doom Guy has become effectively a warrior king among their armies. Though through the priest's malice and the betrayer's loss of his son, all of which we don't see, Doom Guy and his forces who were sent on a hugely important strike mission into hell itself to win the war are end up split up and lost, which causes Sentinel's divination to more or less fall. Doom Guy is once again stuck in hell, now equipped with better and buffed by angelic power, given to him back by the Sentinels by that one Maker Angel that definitely isn't Samuel Hayden at all. While fighting in hell, his modern armor is created by the Betrayer, which gives... I feel like this all came in during... And I don't know if I have this DLC, because I don't think I played the Doom Eternal DLC. There was a DLC that I think took place in between... Yeah, the Ancient Gods. I don't think I played this one. Doomslayer cosplay? What the fuck? The Doomslayer cosplay? Was that the only one? Hold on, let me see. I still not finished Eternal and DLC. I finished Eternal, I just never finished The Ancient Gods. Ancient Gods Part 1, Ancient Gods Part 2, Year 1 Press. Year 1 Pass. So I wouldn't need that. Yeah, apparently they're in my library. I just never played them. Okay, can I have a full breakdown though? I want like the full Doom lore explained. I want the whole thing. I want to read the whole thing. I want to understand what's going on because I'm about to clear because it's widely viewed as non-canon. Doom 3. Not only Doom 3, search Doom 3. Is Doom 3? Oh, okay. Wait, we should do a retro game marathon. I'd be so down. I still want to know what's going on, but I'd be down to play it. Doom 3 is not only clear because it's widely not canon. Not only do the newer games not focus on its events outside of a few Easter eggs, the dates in Doom 3 do not quite fit in the latest trilogy, 2016 Eternal and the Dark Ages. Has gone with. It is simplified that there are multiple. It is implied that there are multiple universes and timelines within Doom, but Doom 3 doesn't seem to take place in the core Doom universe. It's like a weird alt timeline, if I recall. That makes sense. I just want to look at it. Okay. It's a little vague, so a faction of players even view Doom 3 as a retelling of the first game, or think that Doom Guy from Doom 3 is a completely different character that hadn't been in the series previously. Some view Doom 3 as a prequel. Well, okay, I don't really care. One prompted directly. Okay. I wanted So is this a whole chrono? Okay, I should just read it. Is this like good? Is this like a good resource though? I found some 6 days ago. Does it have like reviews and stuff? Comments? There's no comments on it. The entire history of Doom. You guys want to watch a 33-minute video? This one was posted a year ago, so I think that one would have been made before Doom Dark Ages came out, right? If you have more questions, what's this? Did someone do a whole thing? Is this all confirmed? Explicit text and so we applied. Sometimes I try to remember that. There's the man Doom Guy from Doom 1 to 2. It's the matron hero. Doom Universe. What are the questions? Doom Universe, Doom Mythology, with an ardent agent. Hi, I'm Monologue. I'm a lore freak for the Doom. I wrote a massive guide for it, but it's long and not everyone has time for that. Read it here if you'd like. How the fuck? How long do they mean long? Oh, they mean holy shit. They mean long. I watched a 3-hour-long video, but that was only up to the Ancient Gods Part 2. God damn. God damn. Okay. Ooh, this is a lot of like Q&A. Is it all Q&A? Oh, it is all Q&A. Okay. Okay, we'll just go with this one then. We'll just go with this one, I think. Read and take in until it's done. We'll probably stop reading at... I just feel like this isn't nerdy enough. This article just isn't nerdy enough in my opinion. Do you want to explain? Terror Billy, my goat! Who's Terror Billy? Is that a video? Is that a video in here? Doom Dark Ages. Doom story timeline? BJ Blowski? Who's this? Oh! Oh, right! His brother. Ah, got it. Universe. Work of love. I'm like so tempted to just read this. But this is like a 215 pages. Not his brother, his grandpa? His grandpappy? His grandpappy? Alright, fine, we'll read this one, I guess. Okay. He goes by many names, but Doom Guy is the main character in most Doom games. Sometimes his name is interchangeable with the Slayer. Part comes at a certain point in time, which we see in the newer trilogy. And even though he is occasionally said to be related to Wolfenstein's hero BJ, Martin said he didn't know if that was still the case and refused to answer the question in regards to the relation to the new canon. That's a whole— I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna download this for later. I'm gonna read this on my own. I'm gonna read this PDF on my own. Save. You guys started out as a normal Marine who got relegated. What's this word? Relegate. You want to play Wolfenstein? Ooh, if it has streamer mode because there is some nudity. Ooh, I'd be willing to. Let me look at Wolfenstein. I just want to like look at the game. Wolfen. I think Boffy recently got the series. I just want to look at what the game looks like. The game looks cool. I'm not mad. I wouldn't be mad. Okay. What does this word mean? Dismiss. Wolfenstein slabs. Bet then. Doom started out as a Marine who got relegated to duty on Mars moons after disobeying an order to shoot civilians. When the planet's moons got invaded by demons, Doom Guy got to blasting and held back the demonic horde, saving the day. He did the same when the demons came to Earth in the second game. So second, Wolfenstein's Doom. Doom is poppy. I cannot. Okay, so the next Doom is Doom 64 then. When slaying Hell's forces in Doom 64, Doom Guy decided to stay behind in Hell and rip and tear preemptively take care of the next invasion. Spending an undisclosed time killing, he eventually came across the Night Sentinels on Argent de Nur and was taken in. In Bloodthirsty Rage, Doom Guy excelled during his training with the Night Sentinels and fought in their arena. His skill caused him to rise in ranks, going from an outsider to the Night Sentinel's best soldier. His powers were juiced up when the Maker's leader, the Khan Maker, envisioned a backstabber in the ranks, which were dark thoughts whispered to her from the Dark Lord. Because of this, the Khan Maker ordered the construction of the Divinity Machine, a coffin-like device meant to find the betrayer through a vague cleansing process. But a plan hatched from the Dark Lord that also uses some of the Dark Lord's power. The machine made her best soldier go mad, a win for the fallen god since this helped disarm some of the Con Maker's best warrior. In essence, she fell for his trap. Okay, who's the Con Maker? Because I remember a lot of the characters by the way that they look. Oh, it's this lady. I remember this lady. I remember her boss fight. I'm pretty sure I remember it. In an attempt to protect the Makers against the Con's Maker's poor rule, Samuel Maker... Who's Samuel Maker? I do remember this one. Samuel Maker, a seraph, loyal assistant to the father and Con Maker, led Doomguy to the machine. However, Samuel reversed its polarity to empower Doomguy instead of draining him and let him ascend to the legendary character he's known as in later games. This is when he became the Doom Slayer. After many battles, the Doom Slayer and the Night Sentinels were lured into hell by the High Priest of the Order of the Deeg. After many battles, the Doom Slayer and the Night Sentinels were lured into hell by the High Priest of the Order of Deeg, which wound up being a trap. Who is the Order of Deeg? Order of Deeg. Oh, it's this motherfucker? Oh, fucking that guy annoyed me. The High Priest defected to the Dark Lord's side and cut off the portals back, leading to a slaughter and the capture of the Doomslayer. He wouldn't be awakened until the intro to the 2016 game. The Dark Ages saw the Doomslayer being used as a mind control weapon. Okay. I don't want to ruin this for myself. So maybe I should have looked Doom. Okay. Doom story explained up until Doom Dark Ages. Because I don't want to spoil it. Everything all take place before 2016 in order. At the end of Doom 64, Guy gets trapped out in hell and decides to sacrifice, and Doom 2016 picks up way after. Dark Ages takes place in that between period. So Dark Ages takes in between Eternal and 64? Where Doom Guy goes to Doom Slayer. Time passes differently in Hell, kind of a Narnia effect, and it's implied that he fought and survived for Hell's equivalent of eons. Oh. Okay. He was found by the Night Sentinels and taken in as prisoner, but was soon found to be so deadly in the gladiator rings that they decided to put him in the front lines. He continues to prove himself until he earns the title of Doomslayer, being granted godlike power through Maker Tech. Dark Ages follows him during his prime with the Sentinels. So basically, this game is a bridge between the old and new, and I'm hoping to get a better explanation as to how he got locked up in the sarcophagus pre-2016. Is this the thing that he wakes up from in the beginning? Yeah, from the stone thing in the beginning. Yeah, there's like, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because 2016 is very sci-fi, I feel. Very like almost like human futuristic. Okay. I think I get it now. I might still watch a thing about it. I just kind of wish I knew more about like the characters, but maybe they don't matter as much because how long are the original? Okay. I should probably go back to playing Doom. Can I have just like a little bit more lore? Can I just have a little? Okay, maybe I should read the PDF just a little bit. Is there like in the PDF, does it have like based on the iconic video with thanks to the Doom official Discord and all of the Doom story writers. Welcome to the complete guide of the lore for Doom franchise. Alright, I'll scroll in. Enjoy the culmination of a single fan's unbridled passion for Doom and its universe, as well as the months of writing, discussion, study, and theorizing on this franchise. The Doom franchise is chock full of interesting backstory, lore, general. Okay, the modern developers. Okay, it's like the disclaimer. The first section, Doom: A Complete Chronology, is a complete timeline of all the Doom as a franchise, arranged chronologically and divided up into 6 parts. This chronology, god damn, there's big words, as written with the intent to summarize Doom's saga while still making an effort to make the summarization worth reading. It will commonly fit between summary and lore and backstory, and writing out events like boss battles and significant cutscene. It means to be read as if from the perspective of a passionate historian. Every part is preceded by a dramatized narrated adaptation of the cutscene from the modern games. Please note that these have had liberties taken with them, and I wrote them solely to set the mood and entertain the reader. Don't take anything in these short blurbs as canon. The second, third, fourth, and fifth sections all cover the various realms, factions, Doom, Hell, Urdak, Agent Denur, and the UAC, respectively. All of these guides are organized by bestiary characters. God damn! I wish I had this level of platism. What is considered canon? So with these in mind, what installment in the series am I using for this argument? Let's set the baseline. This argument considers the following games to be canon: Doom 1993, all 4 episodes, and the manual sigil is not included. Doom 2, Hell on Earth, and its manual, No Rest for the Living, is not included. Doom 64 and its manual, The Lost Levels, are included. Doom 3 and Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, Doom 3 Lost Mission is not. Also, they somehow fit Doom 3 even though they... maybe they just like, oh, this is here, but like... Because this is when it came out, but it's not. It's not like... And maybe they're like, it's like an alternate. 2016, Doom VFR not included. Doom Eternal and both parts of the Ancient Gods. Doom Eternal's art book and the lore book from the Collector's Edition are both included and considered canon. In addition, I will take Hugo Martin's statements into account when discussing Doom's lore. Some of his statements are fine and some of them are a bit contradictory. I'll present them and allow you to decide if you incorporate them into your own views of the story. A definitive list of what I explicitly consider non-canon, not include the side games, I believe. Okay. Headcanon. Sometimes story context will conflict with other stories, and thus plot holes arise. Any plot unexplained or contradictory by something else marked in red. The Doom's history is left unknown due to vague non-story, and that's blue. The Doom Eternal lore book. Okay. It wasn't good. Oh, okay. So they're starting with like the Ancient Gods. Okay. The Night Sentinels, the Unchained, the Soul Cube. Okay. I think I'm getting most of it because I don't want to spend 5 hours reading this. To be fair, we only have 3 hours left until D&D today. So, I think I get it. Doom guy was Navy guy. Doom guy fight demon. He fight demon. He he go hell to protect Earth preemptively from demon. He fight for a long time, somehow got angelic power from makers, but fought with, or was the makers first? Shit. He got the powers from the makers. Yeah, some Kodai's ancient gods are very early in the universe. Okay. So I'm thinking it's like he was a Marine, then he fight, he was a Marine, he go Mars, fight on Mars, fight demons. Demons gonna go Earth, he fight demons on Earth. Then he go Hell, fight in Hell for a long time. Then get power from Maker and meet Sentinels, becomes the Doom Slayer, and then gets sent back to Earth at some point? Which makes sense as to why we didn't like the Makers in the 2016, because they're like our main enemy other than the demons, I believe. So I think it all makes sense in my brain now. I think we're good. Because the Makers saw us in Hell, gave us power because some stuff they wanted to. They gave us powers because they wanted to use us. Okay, this is a big ass map. Hold on, I want to explore the map. Maker in Eternal, not 2016. Maker not in Eternal. So do I not have the Maker's power in this one then? Because this is this is before 20. Wait. Wait, I need another breakdown. Okay, the Space Lord story. The story begins in the distant future. Space travel is pretty much down pat. Yeah, so this was with a Marine. The Marine and stuff is nails. So everyone got home the whole time. The US and the Marines. I think you got it right before this game. Might be wrong though. Okay. The U.S. Marine Corps ships the Marine off to Mars to be boarded. Okay, so first game, he go Mars. He fight demons. Marine and his buddies check out of Phobos when the Marine left guard the perimeter. When the radio eventually goes silent, the Marine has no choice but to take a see what's going on. No pressure though. Because in Eternal, you got flashbacks when you got buff. Man, I'm gonna have to replay Eternal now. Long hard road of hell. This is Marines in Phobos. The few remaining humans are non-verbal and hostile, attempting to shoot their former squad mate on sight. A host of snarling, disgusting. Eventually, the Marine finds a portal leading to Deimos, which, surprise, surprise, is calling for the demons. What is Deimos? Is Deimos Earth? Or is Deimos a virgin of Earth? Oh, this is like a link to it. Okay. They're fighting through Deimos base. The Deimos base and killing the cyber demon abomination. They go to the Marines, blah, blah, blah. After leaving the bloody pile of guts, the Marine portals back to Earth. Okay, Deimos is it's one of the Mars' moon. Okay, got it. Okay, so he's on Mars. He goes to Mars' moon, and then he gets back to Earth. Hell has already invaded Earth, and 1 billion people are dead. A war painted in blood. Doom 2. With Earth transformed into a little hellhole, humanity's leaders get a bright idea. To take over what's left of the species, launch into space, and wait for the whole idea to blow out. A decent plan, except for the fact the demons have surrounded Earth's last operating space force. Not long after, the Marine gets a message of the human leaders saying they found it. It was the source of the invasion. Since there's no way close a portal in the Marine space hometown. Since there's no way to close it from the Earth side, the Marine treks straight to Hell, facing the heroes of all demons. So he goes to Hell and tries to recover. But despite all the tests and treatment, he still suffers from nightmares. Meanwhile, back on Mars, the demons probably possess the UAC to blanket Phobos and Deimos with apocalyptic levels of radiation. Fortunately, the radiation has a nasty bit of blocking the UAC sensor equipment, eventually allowing the literal mother of all demons to spill into the dimension. The mother resurrects every single slain monster, making them stronger and nastier than ever. Thankfully, the Marines got some serious mental issues to work out, and this incident is just the catharsis he needs. After killing his way through the demonic horde, he finds himself back in Hell. But I thought he went to Hell. There's no way on the Earth side. Marine treks into Hell to find the source of it all. The icon is in. After the one of the most enormous the Marine finally wakes up. Oh, so he goes back to Earth. Okay, so he go. Okay. I'm sorry. I really want to know. Okay, Earth, go Mars, moon, go Earth. Then on Earth, gotta go Hell. Then come back to Earth. Recovers, and then he suffers mental problems, obviously. And then he goes back to Hell to face the mother of all demons. At this point, it becomes clear that demons aren't going to stop coming unless someone cuts them off at the root. That is, Faced with this, the Marine makes an ultimate sacrifice. He closes the portal from Hellside, remaining okay, so okay. And then walk with me in Hell. At this point, the story and timeline gets a bit murky. The Marine's next exploits take place in Hell, recorded by the demons with a flair for the dramatic. There's a bit of a hard fact link for the codex. The Marine kills with extreme prejudice right away, lasting for eons. Okay, so in 2016, he's in Hell. 2016 is him in Hell, killing things in Hell. Okay, this earns him a few perks, being called Seraphim, granting him terrible power and speed. This upgrade accounts for how the dude rips demons apart with his hands. He also receives some Hellforged armor upgrades and the ability to draw strength from his fallen foes, which might explain why he no longer requires fists and first aid kits. Most importantly, the Marine gains a hardcore new moniker, the Doomslayer. After eons of killing through the Slayer was bound to make the mistake, he follows a demon to a temple where the priest promptly dropped the entire thing on his head. This incapacitated just long enough to separate him from his suit, seal his body in a sarcophagus, and mark it with a warning to all hell that he should never be released. At some point, and then he breaks out of it in Doom 2016. Fortunately, one of Hayden's scientists, Olivia Pierce, ends up under the demon's thrall. She opens the portal, allowing the the numbers of the beast. The Slayer develops some sort of working relationship with Hayden. Yes, I remember Hayden. And we're on... What planet are we on at this point? Assuming Hayden manages to crack the whole teleportation business for once and for all. Hayden runs research trips to study demons and Hell's power. Wait, research trips to. Hayden runs research trips to study demons and artifacts and harness Hell's power to solve an energy crisis back on Earth. It's not the brightest idea, but one of the trips lead to Hayden finding the Doomslayers sarcophagus and bringing back to the facility on Mars. Because they're on Mars. Okay. Unfortunately, one of the Hayden scientists, Olivia Pierce, ends up under the demon's thrall. She opens a portal, allowing the demons en masse, killing most everyone. In his desperation, Hayden lets the Doomslayer off the chain and unsealing the power from the arms and brief rundown doesn't need to hear. So 2016 picks up again. At this point, it seems it's a bit murky. So it's said in 2016 that he is like in Hell and then came back. And this, I'm pretty sure 2016 is Eternal, right? Or is it different? Is it different? It looks like it's different. Yeah, it is different. Okay. Slayer develops a sort of working relationship with Hayden over time, and one that's just enough to keep his facility from falling apart. Hayden installs a tether device on the Slayer, allowing him to travel back and forth to Hell without relying on Hell's crappy transit system. However, given a choice between the price of scientist research and an object that lets him tear more demons apart, the change chooses the latter. After reaching Pierce's office, the plan will come to light. Pierce discovers an artifact called the Crucible, a literal Hellblade, not that Hellblade, capable of absorbing incredible amounts of energy. I remember the Hellblade. After using the Crucible to destroy the power source keeping the portals open, the Slayer returns to Hell and confronts Pierce, whose grand prize for doing Hell's bidding is apparently being turned into the next iteration of Spider Demon. After introducing her to the business of the BFG 900, I remember that one. 2016 is Doom, and Eternal is... Oh, okay. Con and the Return of the Icon of Sin, Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal takes place years after the event of Doom, the 2016 Doom reboot. The Doomslayer arrives back on Earth to find the planet at the mercy of the now corrupt UAC. Okay, so Doom was set place on Mars. Did I play that one? Or am I getting confused? I think I only played Doom Eternal. Did I play this one? From your Steam library. I guess I did play this one. I think I'm like getting them mixed up. Store page. Oh, right. This is the one where you're... I don't know. I might have to replay all the Dooms. I think that I'm at a point where I just should replay them all. Doom Eternal takes place years after the events due to the Doom. Yes, 2016. Okay. Doom have... Oh, wait, no, that makes sense. Because I remember all of it being, like, red. Everything being red on this one. Yeah. But I thought it was Earth. But no, it was... Oh, okay, yeah. No. I'm good. I remember. And then this one, you wake up on Earth. And you have to go through Earth. Yeah. Okay. Demons have wiped out cities of the remnants of human have either fled or joined the Ark, a flagging resistance movement. To stop the demonic invasion, the Doomslayer must find and eliminate 3 Hell Priests in the service of the Khan Maker, an angelic creature bent on resurrecting the icon of sin and sacrificing mankind. As the Doomslayer moves towards his goal, and he discovers the Khan Maker allied with Hell, offering the demonic host worlds to invade in exchange for a share of the Argent energy. This energy, which the Makers need to preserve their people and homeland, is harvested by mass sacrificing human souls. After eliminating the Hell Priest, the Slayer travels to Urdok. Where's Urdok? Yeah, you free Earth from Hell and Eternal. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, Urdok is the Maker's planet. Right. The Maker dimension. Oh, I could have just... Oh. And interrupts the Icon of Sin's awakening ceremony. Yes, I remember that. That's like the final fight. Freed from the Khan Maker's control, the Icon of Sin teleports to Earth. The Slayer fights and defeats the Khan Maker before returning to Earth to face the Icon of Sin in a final boss fight. Cool. Okay. I think I'm good. And so this where it's like, oh, he was in hell for a long time. But then are the Sentinels? Are the Sentinels in hell? Night Sentinels? The Night Sentinels are a warrior of Agent Denur, who were originally formed of the in Argenta and protect the race that were scattered after Hell conquered Agent Denur, but they were never entirely destroyed. The Night Sentinels were formed by the first king, Romero the Father. They became the guardians of the wraith and acted both as their holy servants and the bridle for awesome power, while the priests of the Order of Deg would see that the veneration of and the worship of the creatures. In addition, the Night Sentinels served as a royal guard of the kings for the family. Did you see the guy deserves? Did you see the? I don't think so. I think I got distracted by trying to look at Doom Lord. But I think I get it. I think I'm good. I just don't know where the Sentinels are in this, or if they're in space or in hell or what. Where am I going?
All Atlas to
I
defensive
think that's
position.
my only outstanding question at this point.
Marking the Hellgates now.
Ooh, Hellgates. I like that. I remember those. What are they waiting for an elevator? Hey guys. Got a little short compared to them. Hello. Hey guys, what are you guys talking about? Very blue in here. Is that a thing? Oh, it is a thing. Throw a shield at the blue energy nodes to activate machines. A shield will stay active as long as the shield is connected to the... Oh, this is just like in God of War. Oh god, I should play God of War. Oh man, this makes me want to play God of War. Alright.
The Creed ship hasn't moved outside the combat zone.
Energy production is down because of the war. This is his district. Khan would have him executed if he left.
Who? What? Me? You talking about me right now? What's up? Wow, this is a big old fuck off map. Okay, well, there better not be any secrets. This is a big ass map. Are you a thing I can do things with? It's not letting me throw my shield, so I'm presuming not. Oh yeah, these are the guys that we saw in the... Hold on. Sorry. Oh, sorry. In this thing. It's this guy. I think I kind of remember them. Rates. As protectors of Argenta, the Night Sentinels were venerated as a situation. So I'm presuming they're from another planet that also has beef with Hell, because they have that powerful heart of Argent. Is what I'm presuming. Also, let me turn the spec on. Oh, I didn't. My bad. Alright, there you go. Sorry. Alright. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just a normal human that got real fucked up, huh? Alright. Makes sense. Hello? Oh shit.
Weaponry deployed.
Thank you, Slayers. Ooh! Ball and chain. Like it. Flail. Flail strikes deal additional damage to metal shields and armor. On contact, the flail will also generate a damaging blast that affects enemies nearby. The flail recharges slower than the power gauntlet. Parrying hell surge attacks will grant melee. Interesting. You can now switch between equipped melee and the dossier. You are currently on. Oh, so I can choose that guy or this guy, huh? Argentinur, the planet where the okay. So it's its own planet that has beef with demons that took a notice to us because we have similar build. Okay, that's fine. I'll try this one. Even though my fist is buffed it, but what are you doing? You fixing something? What are you guys up to? Oh, they're building. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, didn't mean to do a crotch shot there. Wow, this place is very pretty. I bet this place looks fucking sick when they're not in the middle of a war. I got this, men. Do not worry. There are a lot of hellgates out here. Promise there's no secrets? You promise. You fucking promise, game. Because this is a lot. Oh, there's a separate glory kill with the flail. I like it. Oh, what's up there, big guy? I see a thing. Don't fight me. Don't fight me. I'm doing it. He's dead. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, shit. Bonk. Oh, I didn't know if I'd make that one. Womp. I wonder if that means we'll get other types of shields, because I think the UI is laid out the same way, where like instead of having the melee power gauntlet, you can have something else. I missed that completely. I wanted to see if that was really it. I'm kind of iffy about the whole, what's these guys? Come to mama. Those guys are the ones that I didn't like. Thank you for the word stack.
Some damage. Slayer, we need time to repair them before we can clear a path for the lifeboats.
There are 4 more hellgates.
Okay. So I need to stall further. I have like no money. Okay, so I gotta go there? What the fuck? Oh, I guess it doesn't matter which way I go. I just gotta go to the next one. To get to stall. Well, I guess I'll just go this one. Just mark on the map. What's that? There's a thing over there. What is this? There's money! There's money on the ground. Oh. I miss my dragon. I miss Sept. It looks like they drop little Sonic rings. It's actually really cute. It's like I'm playing like a, I kind of like I don't know if I am, but I'm thinking I'm kind of digging this whole, the blocking system instead of dodging system, because it kind of makes me feel like I'm playing like a DDR game. A rhythm game. Woo, baby! And I like also that the chainsaw on the shield gets hot. It's just a good little added effect on it. God damn, I love Doom. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I really like Doom. Oh, fucking bitch. Stop that. Oh my god, what the fuck, landmines? That's fucking rude. Should I feel bad that I'm taking these, like, well, I mean, I shouldn't feel bad, because they're just lying here. If the rubies were important, they wouldn't just leave them everywhere, right? So, I don't feel like there are secrets on this one. You fucking bitch. There are, wait, I didn't look at the right. God damn it. Okay, let's get this up. No. Where's my secret? There's gold here. Where's my gold? Give me my gold. There's also a secret? Oh, it's up there. I have to go up and around. Let's go over the whole damn map. Not that I don't like it, it's just a thing. Because, like, I'll just... Oh, excuse me. Ow, what the fuck? Ow, ow. Excuse me. My timing is bad. Could you do that again, please? I'm bad. Okay, I'm sure sorry, my bad. I was just really bad at timing. Go around. Where do I go around now? Alright, don't mind me, guys. I'll be stalling for as long as I can. And by stalling for as long as I can, I mean running around and getting every secret. So I kind of... Holy shit, that's a lot of dead bodies. Holy shit. Whoa, I feel bad. Oh, wait, there's a thing. Yeah, there's an extra life over here that I mixed, which I need, because I don't have any. Right? It's over here, right? Yeah, there's like a little cave path over here. Little crevasse. Little crevasse for me. Okay. I don't like that there's this big open area on the map that I don't have. You know, I don't feel... What in the fuck, Knuckles? How did I miss you? What the fuck? What the fuck? Leave me alone. What the fuck are you? Why are you the way that you are? Why are you ugly? Why are you so ugly? Yeah, you fucking bitch. What the fuck was that? That was a hell tentacle. That wasn't even like a porn tentacle. That was just a hell tentacle. What the fuck? Jesus. It was beautiful. I'm sorry about it. You're right. It was beautiful. It was an eldritch nightmare. My bad. My apologies. Just pick up all this loot. I thought it was a tree. I'm gonna be honest. I think I saw it earlier, but I dismissed it as like a weird tree. Oh man, I wish the thing was bigger. Because it's gonna bug me not uncovering all parts of the map. I think for the most part, it'll be fine, but it'll still bug me. Okay, I have 3 melee things. Got all of that, I'm gonna go this way. So yes, this way. Is it that way? It's to my left. This way. I think. I went too far. What's this? I think something spawned there. I didn't notice. There's money here. Blunk, 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 blunk. Hello. I'm gonna go up here really quick. Don't mind me. I'm just going up here really quick. There's some more gold over here. Hey guys! Am I late to the tea party? What in the fuck happened to this?
3 artillery cannons remaining.
Ooh. I dropped a thing of gold. Shiver be timbers. It still deserved death. It still deserved the death you gave it, but it was beautiful. Also, it has friends on this map too. It does! Okay, good. There's more of them. I will admire their beauty. Oh, hey, what's up, guys? God damn, I love how it moves in that. I feel like in the last one, there was still a little bit of a fight that they would, like, the smaller ones would put up. But in this one, you just tear them down. Which I feel like makes sense. Unfortunately for Doom Eternal, I'm gonna have to play that one again because I feel, well, no, I don't know. It depends. I feel like how it felt was that even the little baby demons, you could pop them with a headshot, but otherwise it. What the fuck? There's a bunch of secrets in here. Need a key. Need a key. Is this an underwater thing? It's an underwater thing. I like that this one has underwater. I think I like, unfortunately, the Doom guy feels more powerful in this one than he does in Eternal. Is my brain thought. Oh! Hello, sorry. Didn't mean to do that to you. Oh, devouring like shit and all. Is it dead? Oh, it was not dead. It makes it, honestly though, I will, oh, there was 2 of them. Oh, there was 3 of them, technically. It just makes me feel like Eternal, you are less powerful than you are in this one, which is unfortunate, considering that it's technically meant to be after, right? After this one? But I definitely think because of its medieval nature, this one's my favorite. Ooh. Ooh. I don't like that egg thing, though. I will say that egg thing is really weird to me. Sir, what is the Slayer doing? I think he's on a loot run. But sir, we're in the middle of a war. Yeah, but the Slayer gets distracted. Alright, I didn't get the... There's a thing here. Nope, not this one. I didn't go all the way up. Oh, the secret key. Shit. Alright, I'll have to come back for that. Is there... Oh, shit, I forgot to... Parry 10 Hell Knight attacks? Shit. Strike demons with a flail. Okay, it's a good thing I remembered to do this, or else I probably would have forgotten. God damn. That sucks for them. I can't remember. The Hell Knights are the big ones, right? Can I destroy you really quick? With a demon? Ooh. I don't think those ones are the Hell Knights. The Hell Knights are the big Knight boys. And back to the map. Yeah, I'll go this way. Hey, green? Hog. Oh wait, there's secrets. 1 second, there's secrets, and then I'll come over there. Oh, I should be using the flail on those just in case. Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! The VR mechanics in video games is really cool. I like it. I don't understand why it keeps switching. Oh, hello. love killing demons. He's so hard. A bug shot, that's unfortunate. What is this? What is this? Is it a challenge thing? Where am I? Oh, I'm like below. It's like a secret. I found a secret, chat. I found a secret. Oh, see, that's why I grabbed the health. So I didn't trust that you fuckers wouldn't be down here for Taco. Hey guys. Hey guys. It's just so funny to me. The way that they just die. They just like, oh, I'm dead. Woohoo. Did I get everything down here? I think I do. There's 513 gold on this map, which I think is crazy. I wonder though, I'm presuming 100% completing a level means that you get all the secrets, but I'm like wondering if like that pertains to gold as well. You know? Like if you don't get all the gold, will you still 100% complete it? Because I feel like there's a 50-50 chance, like it's split down the middle, whether it would count you getting all the gold or not as 100%ing it. I feel like considering how noticeable the gold is on the map that it would count it, but I can always be wrong. Hey, what's up, bitch? Morale encounter. Morale encounter feature a leader demon that is shielded until the morale is empty. Morale is depleted by killing demons. The more powerful the demon, the more morale meter will deplete. Once the morale meter is empty, the leader's shield goes down, allowing it to... Okay. That's cool. Oh my god. Okay, bad idea. I'm just gonna leave him up there, I think. Oh, that guy's the leader. That's sick. Oh, he's dead. Anyone else? There we go. There you all are. I was wondering where you were. Oh, I gotta hit things with my tail. I keep forgetting. Oh, it's a Hell Knight. I have to parry his attacks. Come on. Come on, big boy. Oh, what the fuck? This is not the parrying attacks. Oh, god damn it. You're standing next to it. Thank you. Wait, that's the thing, right? Hold on. Hold. I want to make sure. Hold for a few things, actually. Apologies. Okay. Parry 10 Hell Knight. Are you not a Hell Knight? I thought you were a Hell Knight. Hey guys, is that not a Hell Knight? I thought this was a Hell Knight. Time out, Elaine says the demon, my bad. This is the demon, yeah, dude. They don't respect the rules of timeout, man. I mean, thanks to the challenge, I'm better at parrying you. Shit, dude. a Hell Knight in this game? I wonder if it's the boss. I don't feel like that was high enough. Hell Knights are the punchy demons? These ones? These ones? Not you. You guys. Oh, they are, okay. Can you do that again? 8 more times, please. I love the sound, the blocking sound is actually really nice. Keep backing up, my bad. There we go. 3 more times. 3 more times and then I'll put you out of your movie, okay? 2 more. 1 more time. That's a- oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I got a little too excited. There we go. Thank you. Nice life. Oh, fuck! I thought you were dead! There we go. Jesus. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, the thing is down. Stop it. Hold on. Stop him. Alright, come on, big boy. What you got for me? Oh, you got shit for me. Okay. Sorry. Okay, this is stupid. Not really stupid. I'm just bad. Boop. Oh fuck! I took a chunk of his face off. That's fucking sick. I was gonna do that. Oh, ow, 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 ow! He's gonna do that. He's gonna do that. He's gonna do that. Oh my god. Dead. Yeah, baby. Whoa, whoa. What's the next one? What's the next one? Strike demons with a flail. Oh, okay. You want to get hit by the flail? Okay, maybe I shouldn't hit you with the flail. That might actually be a bad idea. Because you're dead now, motherfucker! Excuse me, I'm here. How rude. Yippee! Suck all these up. Aw, that threw me over the edge. I there's gold up there. I need that gold. Excuse me, I need that gold. 1 second, there's gold over here that I missed. I gotta go get it. Do we get a sword in this game? I want to have a sword. I really want to go sword and shield kind of build. I feel like that would be really cool. Thank you. I think I'm gonna go down to the left. Nicely done, Ribbon there. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm a little low on shield, but I'm always low on shield. No sword, there's a big chunky mace though. Oh, hold on, I'll deal with you guys in a second. Come on. Oh my god, that was 3 in a row, you bitch. Oh, what the fuck, that one worked. You son of a bitch, you exploded! What do you mean? mean? Ooh. Penis hangies. You get flail treatment. You get flail treatment. That's right. What do you mean there's more of them? These guys I don't. You guys were hell to me fucking. You done? Oh, I can't like hit him. God damn. Okay, I'm gonna go this way now, okay? There's a guy over here that I wanna kill. You got like a bunch of shields guys over here, don't you? I kinda need some more shields. If I could have that, please. Oh shit, I did not know he was death ready. Whoop! Into the butt. So your guy's dead now. Hold it? Oh, you're not dead. Can we go back to this? The shotgun's like my favorite. What a lovely day it is to kill demons, Boop 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 ba-doop. Boop 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 ba-doop. Health back there. Ooh. What's going on in here? A lot of barrels. A lot of barrels. This is a lot of barrel, guys. And I don't wanna deal with all of this.
The portal to get inside.
Huh? Get inside what? Oh. Oh, the portal. Okay. Ooh, what is this? Do I get a pop out of that and be like, what's up? Oh, no, I'm feeling this. There's a gold chest! The thing gonna go blue so I can open it. Where am I? Oh, I'm like in the thing now. A lot of sub things in this thing. It is on now. Oh, this looks like the sarcophagus that they put me into. Except mine was like less fancy. Oh. Guess you never have the first one, I think. Huh? Is that the... Oh, that's a gun! Ooh. I like guns. Hi, Lord, time for bed. Sleep well, Andrea. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Have a wonderful night of sleep. Have fun. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Here we go. There's Sept. Money, money, money. Must be put sunny. And is it funny or sunny? I don't remember. Money, money, money. Must be put sunny. In a rich man's home. I do need one of those, thank you. It's mine now. What is this? I like that it's electrified. What is this? Chain shot? Yo, what the fuck does that mean? Chain shot fires a dense. Oh! 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 I like it already. I already love it. What do you mean? I love it. Yay! Yay! It's a pretty good weapons in this game, guy. I break it with this. Okay. Hold on, sorry.
Located. Seek out additional stockpiles.
It's so funny. I like it. I like the chainsaw. I like the chainsaw too. Alright. Good shit, brothers. I like this gun. I gotta like, wait, I gotta recharge it or something? Wait, it runs out of ammo though, it looks like. Aww. What's a chain gun? Where do I go next? I gotta go... oh, this way. Yeah, because I haven't found the secret key yet. I'll go this way. What's up, brother? Oh, they're all dead. Oh. Which way am I going? I'm going to my... shit. Left now. It's like a gun that punches. I know, it's great. Stendo punch. Into... nope. Hey guys. I wish I would hit on the way back as well. Oh, I'm out of ammo. No! I like that. What the fuck is that big thing? Oh, that's a Titan. Kaiju fight? Kaiju fight? Kaiju fight? Oh, I'm really funny. I guess they're not very good for like single targets. I guess I probably shouldn't do single targets. But it's so fun! I like the flail blower kill though, it's nice. Excuse me, I was really disengaged. Oh, hello. Ow, 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 ow. I don't want to upgrade the flail. The game so far has done a good job of making me want to use its other weapons. Because sometimes in games, like they give you a new weapon, you don't really want to use the other one. But I feel like there's a good... well, some are, yes, stronger than the others. I feel like all are situational in their own ways, which is nice. There's no secrets up here. I don't know if I get some. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. like that you can't mount. What the fuck is a thing up here? It is up here, right? Yeah. I just doing stupid stuff. Oh, maybe I can jump from the other way. Excuse me. I gotta go in here, please. Another key, huh? Not found a single key yet. Oh, it's that thing. There's a ruby. Oh wait, the ruby is being stopped by the key. That makes sense. What's up, guys? No, I bounced off. Oh, wait. Fell right down. Nice. Okay. Okay. I get everything? No. Oh. Okay. So that's that. That's that. I have to come back for that. And now I just gotta go back and follow the path for the gold. Hopefully I can like finish this one at least before D&D is my hope. Or maybe like this area. There's a thing up there. Not there. Thank you. Sorry, wrong one. I would like Woo! Oh, it's so shiny. So shiny when time to put shield and body. This feels climbable. It is not climbable. There's a key! Give me the key. The key to my secrets. Hey, you guys are breaking shit. Stop breaking shit. Okay, that means I can go back. But there is a secret to my left. Which needs a key. Oh, it's me! It's a me! Two pins! That's so cute. Must be so nice. I gotta go all the way back there. Must be so nice in a rich man's world. Just doing a little hike. Hike on the way back. Going the right way still? Yes. Ooh, weapon skin for something? What's it for? I think it's for this one? No, it is for this one. How many skins there are? I haven't gotten one for the super shotgun yet. Oh, that one doesn't have it equipped. Oh, there's this one. I'll make sure they all have their skins equipped that I have been getting through the game. Thank you. Okay, and then now I gotta make— oh! I have been eaten. That scared the shit out of me. Okay. Hello. Oh. There you go. Hee hee. Hello. I gotta go back over here. And I am over the fuck there, I think. Okay, let me just make my way back, like, over. Back to the main area, and then I will reconfigure myself. How you doing, Sheppy? I hope you're having a lovely day. Okay, this is like the main-ish area, which means I gotta go left. I can't have the super shotgun out. Yes, and I gotta keep all this. Damn, look at them. Oh my god, we're so gonna do a kaiju fight. This is sick. Hello, I am here for my loot. Opposite way, my bad. Thank you. Okie dokie, and now I can get the fuck out of here. Can I go back out this way? I cannot, I have to go back out. I believe it's this way. Is it? This way, and then it goes down, and then— oh, it's this way, I think. Yeah. Excuse me. Alright, now we can go forward to here. Oh, bad guys. Oh, what's up, dude? A little bit more scattered than I was expecting them to be. There we go. Ow. There we go. Does that feel, buddy boy? Feel good on your demonic skin? I'm just gonna the opportunity for the glory kill. Oh, that was good. Is there a thing over here? Hello? There's a thing over there. Just in case I do. There we go. Hello. Is there anything down here? Kinda looks like it. Ha ha! Good thing I checked the map because I would have been wrong. Baby items for me. Yeah, I'll stay going this way. Is there anything secret over here? There is. The maincubus. Oh, there is a thing over here as well. Let's see if I can drop down and grab it. Codex found. I want to go back. A bit of money. I can see if I can upgrade any of my weapons. I would. Let's see. The time between super shotgun is reduced. That's not bad. Chain shot. Pairing a hell surge instantly charges your next. Also not fucking bad. Do I have enough money for both? I do. I do. Quick math. I do. What's this one? Chain shot deals more damage to an armor at maximum charge. Or, oh shit, these both do good. I'll do this super shotgun. I like the super shotgun more. Here we go. Okay. There's a secret to my lab. Oh my god! Excuse me, pardon me, pardon me. Excuse me. I cannot. That's because they want me to go around. So like the last two, so I'm gonna go around and do this shit. Yeah, I'll go around and then come back. Yeah. Ow! Come here. Okay, bye. Around the left, right? Yeah. Go fully around to the left. But stay left is the plan. Alright. Yep. Stay in left. Stay in left so you can get there. Gold. Give me gold. Yeah, okay, cool. So it looks like the big gold piles where there's the siege things. Makes sense to me. Oh, another extra life? Gimme, 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 gimme. Cool. Right, let's go forward. I feel like this ledge over here that I didn't... This one? I have stuff on it, I'm not really sure. Same goes for these. Not rid. What the fuck? Holy shit! Motherfucking damn! This guy's big! Holy fuck! Ow, I'm very bad at parrying your shit. I think that means it's good. There are pink things here. What is this? What is this? Oh shit, hello. Oh man, it's still not enough. There we go. Oop. One on his leg, if I want on the second leg. Hello. Hello, sir. Bonk. Okay, bye. Can I have this now? Why can't I have it? Why can't have Ruby? Who wants Ruby? Let's clear out this side of the map. What can't have? 3 doggo sit. Must kill all the thingies? Oh. Ah, must find 3 doggos at you. Is that on the map? No. Fuck. Is it like around here? Hey, do you demons know where more doggo statues are? I must find more doggo statues. I don't know where they are. Is there another doggo statue over here? It only led me to more heat. Ooh, I did not see that one. Hello. You annoying sack of food. Alright. Any more dogs at? I don't see any more dogs. Did I miss them? I think I missed them, which sucks. It's another Hellgate. I don't wanna do that one yet. I wanna find all the doggos. Are the doggos not on the map? Oh, fuck. Where are all the doggos? It's kind of surprising to me that the dog statues wouldn't be near the thing, but it is anyone's game, so I don't. There's one. Maybe they are just around here. Where are the lions? Where's the lions? Let's see, doggo. There was a doggo statue there and a doggo statue over there. The last one. I'm very proud of myself for finding those. Sometimes those make me frustrated because, like, I, like, lose where they are. So I go all over the place a bit much. I didn't do that. Hog. I have all the rubies. There's whatever that. Oh, I have to kill one of the big monsters to get the big upgrade, and there's still gold on the map. Makes sense. Makes sense. And I also have to find one more of those siege things. Leave me alone. I don't want to deal with you right now. Actually, I do want to deal with you right now. Go. Thank you. What's up, guys? Cut his head off. What's in here? This is a thing. Hold on. Where is the other? Excuse me. Do that. Oh, that's it. There's one more secret over here. Wanna pop out? Hey there. Hey there. Hey you there. Hey there. Aha! Block that one, bitch. Good night. Just want it. Is this a thing? In the water. How do I get into that? Oh, hello. You're the last thing I need to break. Perfect.
The last cannon has been destroyed.
Yes, it has. Ooh. Secret tunnel! Secret tunnel! Oh shit, dangerous secret tunnel! Oh my god. Mind if I do? Secret tunnel! Dangerous secret tunnel! Through the water! Okay. I haven't got all the gold yet, so I'll go to the tiny one, and the big one should give us the last upgrade that we need, I believe. What's up, mamacitas? I'm ready for a battle. Any more? Oh, motherfucker, hello. Nice to see you here, sir. That arm. Bonk. Okay. Oh, I wasted that bit of ammo, that's alright. That's alright there, chat. There's no problem. Oh, it's got a thing. I gotta go into a thing, huh? Go! Oh, what's up? What's up, Kevin? See, you started the party without me, but that's quite alright. I'll be there soon enough. More gold. Oh, there's 2 gold now. Don't worry, guys. I know my invitation got lost in the mail. Secret? Ow, 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 ow. We should have probably guessed that was gonna do that. And I don't have to worry about drowning, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, the Doomslayer can die because of drowning of all things. Ow. That's funny. Oh. That's where I was. Oh, no, on the other side, huh? I believe. You have secrets for me. More gold over there. Oh, I see. But you had an invitation? Wink. Wink. Oh, God. Wait. Oh, okay. I didn't go up there, and I feel like there might be something up there. Let's go back and around. This way? No. This way to this way. Yeah, to this way. And then I felt I hadn't gone up there. And in order to get there, I got here. Oop. Ah, yes. You. Which I think opens the second gate, I'm presuming. Yep. More gold. Hey guys! Aww, you left the body without me. What am I gonna do now? Okay, I only have like 13 more gold, I'm missing. Or less than that. 8, 13, 8, 2, 10... 5 gold? I'm missing 5 gold? I'm presuming I'll probably find it over here. If anything. So yeah, we'll go around. We'll go around this way. Excuse me? Is that just my footsteps? My big old BT footsteps. Come on, run. Come on. Oh. Give me my gold. Is that all the gold? Haha! It was all my gold. Okay. I just gotta kill the guy now. Last guy. I'm gonna go... I think it wants me to jump off from there, so I'm gonna do that. Yeah, the game does quit. The entrance is for a reason, so I respect. Oh, yeah, I actually don't know if we could have done this without going through this. I think I lied. I think I have to go around. Hey, what's up, guys? You first. Alright, yeah, that's what I motherfucker. think that's everyone here. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. I don't want to miss any of the demons. I am pretty sure that wouldn't count towards 100%ing the map, but nah. I like fighting things. It's a good stress reliever. I remember when I was younger, and maybe this is not a good thing per se. Maybe this is not the best thing for maybe like a 16-year-old to do, but Doom was my like stress relieving game. But I think it makes sense. It's just a big old hack and slash, you know? Alrighty. Hey guys. I need to go kill the maincoow. Oh shit, I'm up here. No, I missed it. Oh my god, I'm being bonked while I'm bonking the demons? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, thank you for bonk. Keep me in gear. Who's the other big guy? There's another big guy. Another rider. I don't know what those ones are called though. I don't know what these ones are called. I like this puppy though. I really got puppy. Ooh, is that a big boy? Alright, so if I could do Minecraft fucking small meat, that's a real thing. Away. Oh my god. God damn, I am bad at timing the best shots. Nut shot! Oh my god! Feels bad, dude. Excuse me, wait. I need a little bit more things and then we can fight, okay? Oh, it's almost. There we go. Oh my god, that's crazy. It does the shield thing as well, not the arrow shot, which I think is cool. Hey, don't run away from me. What the fuck? That is some coward ass shit, bro. Running away. What the fuck is this? I'm down. I'm trying to do this guy over here. What oh, yeah! Eat his soul! Eat his soul! What's health? Nope, armor. I'm stupid. Health is blue. Yeah, I did it. Hey, did I get everything? Got everything.
Hellgate eliminated.
The turrets are back online. Get the transports ready to launch.
Yeah, get the sentinels out of here.
Evacuate civilians now. Thank you, Slayer.
Yeah, no problem. No problem now that I got my soul back, you know. I'm happy to hell. I killed your leader. Get the fuck off my planet. Heathens. Alright. I'm coming.
Seismic activity detected near the wall.
Hey guys, sorry, that was me. Oh, what the fuck? Oh no, you're gonna die! Oh boy. Oh boy, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Ho ho! Ho ho ho! My pee-pee hard. Oh shit, no! Yeah, that's what I thought. Put me in one, coach. Put me in, coach. Oh no, he's gonna rip his arm off. No! Ooh. Put me in, coach. Put me in. Chapter complete. Siege part 1. Got 500 gold. I did it. I did it, chat. I did it. Do I want to do another one? I have 1 hour before I have to go play D&D. I don't know if I'm... Because I want to do the whole chapter. I really... I do not want to be stopping mid-chapters because that feels kind of donkey poo-poo. So I could pause for there. We did... What did we do? We did... Oops. I think we did 2 chapters? I wanna look at can I not look at the collectible viewer? Mancubus, the Slayer, us, Sept, the Hell Knight, the Imp Stalker, the Soldier. What is this? Ah, those are the little baby soldiers. Those are the guys with those guys. And those are the guys that turn invisible. Oh, I see. These are the Hell Knights. Most punchable foe still eludes you. It does, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? I think they're all... This one's not the nightmare one, but I haven't got that one yet. Dragon skins. I didn't want to come over. Oh shit, there's a lot of milestones in this game. Oh shit, what the fuck? Beat the campaign on Pandemonium difficulty? What the fuck is the Pandemonium difficulty? I'd have to be in game to check it. I might do art for the rest of stream. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'll do art for the rest of the stream. So I don't want to stop mid chapter. And I feel like it might take me an hour, but considering how much I backtrack and do stuff, I don't want to risk it for the biscuit, you know? I almost closed something I didn't need to close. Alright, let's go over here. I wanna go take a quick piss break. Take a quick piss break before D&D. I will be right back already. We'll do some art. Let me play some music. Open the door! POV, I'm at your door. Open the door! Fuck. Hello, gamer! Sorry. I like literally just went to the bathroom. Hello, Reaper! Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the raid. How's it going, folks? Welcome back. I literally just got back. Now you embarrassed her because she's gonna be really... Shut the fuck up. Don't call me out like this. Don't call me out like this. Hello, Raiders. Hi. Hi, how was your stream? How was Ghost of Tsushima? Shut the fuck up, I'm back. Get ready during a break, Elaine. You got me. You got me fucking good. How's it going? How's it going? How was your... Oh, sorry. How was the stream? Did you have a good time? Did you have a good time? I hope you had a great time. I am back. Sorry, I did rush back. It's also a little warmer in my office than I was hoping it would be, but welcome back. We finished Ghost of Tsushima. It was sad, but the game was awesome. I'm glad. I'm good. I just got done playing a little bit of Doom. I suggested the raid. He delightfully took the chance to raid during the break. Evil! Well, welcome on in. We were just about to do a little bit of art. On purpose! Damn, evil. That's alright. I understand how it would be. Well, welcome on in. We're gonna do some art before, D&D. That's my man being a little shit. Fuck yeah. If you need a raid and rest, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy hanging out with us. This one. We are making little beans. Beans for stream avatars. I'll be working on that for a little bit. Before D&D with Havoc. I like you too. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If there's anything you want to tell us about, feel free to. Like, what did you do today? In Mahatma Gandhi. I don't know if I want to change his little steppies. I want to cancel, yes. So right now, what we've got going on for the avatars is we have his idol, which I like the idol. And thanks to Kiwi for figuring out how the little guy would look in pixel art, because I was kind of like stumped about it. But thanks to Kiwi Goblin Books, we figured it out. See if it'll let me. So here's our little idol animation. And now, thanks to the way we did this, we can now change the colors much easier now. So I'm much happier about that. And this is the little walk. But I don't know if I want to change it at all. Let's do sprite walk cycle. Because his legs are just so stumpy. Yeah, this one has a lot of, even though it's like very similar. Welcome on in. Hey girl, what did the cow say to the rapper crossing the road in front of the farmer's truck? I don't know. What did they say, Chow Chad? What did they say? Also, why is me screaming like this? Why is it bright? Turn off. Move out the way, bitch. Move out the way. I like it. I like it a lot. I could give him more frames between the up and down of his feet. Or, hold on. Still. Oh, this is not the way back home. Where did I put it? Disassociate. It's... Huh? Oh, did I save it not as an as a file? No, son of a donkey's asshole, bro. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Son of a bitch. Oh shit. Does Asbury have autosaves? Give me some advice. How does this work? If I responded, again. Okay, there's that one. Ooh. Pardon my delay. Disassociate. Navigating my head. This looks right. I am wasting all this time. What is this one? This is the other one. Okay, not this one. I'm navigating my head. Face. This looks right. Yeah, it looks right. Does it have it all separated? It does. Okay, oh my god, thank god. I almost pooped my pants. His tail is broken, but I can fix that. Duplicate. Go here. And put that tail, copy. Gib. Here. Line it on up. Delete layer. Tail. Cool. Oh my god, this made me sweat. Alright. Ooh, that was very scary. Remember, kids, save early, save often. Alright, let me do an auto save thing. But it's running out. Let me say recovery data. Okay. Don't let I fall without you. Let us be turning if you. Would you even want me? What does your walk look like right now? Preview? It's like fast because I did it at 6, right? I did it at 12. Yeah, so turn this one off and this one off. Oops. Oops. Well, that was right. Right now. I can't type. Okay. Frame 2. Save. And I can't live without you. That's why you should turn you. And the legs, yes, the legs are separated. What's wrong? A new tablet is hooked up and working. Woohoo! Congrats. I hope it's fun to play with. New layer. I think that's better. Thank you for the bonk. Save. No. Let's open. Open. Boop. Avatars. Yes. Okay. So now this one should just have the 3. Okay. So now if I do inside you on the part of me only. That should go right there. I'm trying to grid off as well. Save and reload. Preview. I think it's this huge part that I don't like. I don't know if this is the same or different, to be honest. Love me and leave my side. With many miles, I will know how. Oops. Did not mean to open it. What have you done? What does that even mean? One, two, three, four. So okay, so let's take this is gonna go here, else they won't move together. Save, export. And then if this was, say, 8. I think that makes sense. Yeah. So now this one. Turn this off. I want it to go more forward. Then let's see. preview it again. Oh, but now that we have, I'm going to do it by 10 now. Is that like too much? I feel like maybe I extended it too much. Hey, OD. Zero. Yeah, I think that's better. I think I was exaggerating it a bit too much. Okay, even though the tablet is here, hooked up and works, I can't play with it now. I have to get it back to class. Oh, well, yeah, I believe in you. I believe in you. I'm sorry that it's kind of puddingus, but I believe. Is that the problem? Wait, no, because this cycle was incorrect, right? I'm confused. So, contact. Oh, I guess that is another way I could do it, I guess. Where it's like... What's the most together one? That's not contact. So I'd only have to focus on the first 4. It's like between pass and up. So it would be... My AC is like not doing AC things. Oops. There you go. I like this. I like this image. This one's a little bit too complicated. Okay. So we Okay, I think I understand. I'm gonna redo this. Let's see, we'll delete layers and 1. And we'll duplicate this. Can't move it though. Things. Let's go in here. Okay, frame 1. And then duplicate. Save it. Finish my ROR2 run. Nice! Did you beat it? Win? Did you win? The more I work on this game project in class, the more I want to stop going to class and just work on my own stuff. That's how it be. But don't worry, college will end sooner than you hope. Okay, so let's see. Now I'm looking at it. We want the leg to get picked up. So this leg, actually, control, duplicate, turn off. This is going to be leg 1. Which I should have just separated them in the beginning, but I didn't. Okay, watch anime now. Have fun watching anime. Oh, make a sound. Copacetic. Yeah, I have 1 more month on this project, then 2 months learning Unity, then 2 months of a major Unity project that I start my internship. Fuck yeah, that sounds epic. I hope the internship is hella fun for you. And if you need any Elaine help, you know, let me know. You know, I also went to school for game dev. It was hard. Okay, so I just want to look at a little bit more examples. I like whoever is making these. They're from Patreon. I was so hesitant to go back to college after 11 years because I feel so old in this class. But the thing is that you're going back and you're learning things that, you know, not everybody learns, trying to learn it on their own. And I think you should be proud of yourself for honestly trying again. You know, college isn't for everyone, but when you do it, it's like sometimes it's just better going back at a later time when you're more what's it called? Well, more prepared for it, you know? So I think okay, I'm gonna try this one. Right? Cause yeah, okay. I'm gonna try this one first. Which would have his little leg go out more. Out. Okay. I'm also gonna for now I'm gonna turn off the milk layer. Just so I can focus on him. So out, down. Out, down. Okay, so duplicate. Wait. Right there. Okay, let's duplicate this layer. There we go. This one goes here, and then we skip. Nope. There we go. And then I feel as if this all comes. Oh. Right, all this. Nope. You think the devil has horns? Okay, and go down. Oops. Three, okay. Down the street. No, okay. Cancel. And then we do. So that goes down. Do contact and then pass. Which is. Like you should be wrong. Okay, so I think let's go back. Oops, I didn't lock it. Go. And then I just want to see how this looks so far. So if I'm looking at this, it goes up and then down. Okay, yeah, I think I'm doing this right. You're in paradise. And then duplicate. Walk this road alone. Walk this road alone. Then we'll turn this off. And then this back here. What's this one? Oh, I gotta do this. One, two, three. It's an endless world, it's a starless sky, it's a hell that I own. Goodbye on the other side, all my life I know. It feels like an eternity since I am with you. This is 10-5. Thank you for the wellness check, Rainer. And for the boo. Maybe. Okay, this one. 3. So you reload. It's fine, just 5. Because this one is the down. It has 4. This could be an in-between. So I think technically right now they're the same. I could have lowered that one too much. Okay. How about we do... Wait, let me look at the... this one. Oops. Take 2 milks. 75? Why is this one milk? 75 more. Milk normal 75 opacity. Milk normal 75 opacity, right? Oh, it's a different color. Okay. Yeah, somehow they're still all different. Okay. There we go. Wait, no, one of them's off. It's a little bit lighter. Okay. Go click. Let's make it 100. Just delete all of them. Just maintain the sentence. Okay. This is the face. Sing. Delete. His face. I don't know what this one is actually. Because add foreground color to palette. Start by here. Outline face. I don't like this one. Okay. This would be the only 4 colors that he has. Actually, no, he should have one more. Alright. There you go. So right here. Okay. Oh, I should click. See now. Export it. There we go. Okay, now what if instead of having wall copy, delete layer. We go, and then we take duplicate. Because this already has like the bobbing movement that I like. So okay. I see. They're moving 2 legs at a time. What did happen to his arms? Little baby boy, what happened to your arms? Oh shit. Delete. Check up. Make sure his arms aren't locked. No. No harm in you losing child. Until I set you free. With me, oh, eternity time. Grandfather provides a way so live, so never die. Okay, let's do legs. New layer. No one steer you wrong. Stay with me. Leave the house, so come on now and run inside. Is that how it goes? It goes forward. It's like forward. And then this one goes back. I don't think that's right. Maybe not so far back? And then it switches. He can't switch though. So let's see, we could do let's see. Let's erase this one. And this one goes down and it goes up. this one would go up then. And only the sunshine above all night. I know I remember then. It's gonna be 6. I think so. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Alright, what's next? Sit? Oh, sit. I hate you. Rockin' cats until you scream. It feels like something's missing. Ooh, I see it. There's a notification in my Discord. Did I miss something? Oh. Delete later. And then frame 2, sit. Just gonna go in here. Beep. And then this one. Delete. Delete. And delete. I'm just gonna edit this guy. There you go. These are all locked. Fuck. You clean up a little milk. Clean up your little milk. Walk is good now. I'm gonna do a new layer. White. And then I need to turn this off. Like, I'm gonna bring this down just a little bit. Where does tail go? There it is. There you go. this part needs to come down a little bit. It's even. And then also bottom. Oh. Oh. I think go straight across. I found that pixel art is much easier to do with my mouse. But at the same time, it's also just as hard. Cool. Sunshine. I want to start walking this day that I really to. I don't like how this things. There you go. Now the shit is good. I've been waiting. Oops. Okie dokie, and then stand is just another version of idle. Optimistic that I realized there's the sunshine all the time. Oh, his arms. Also delete these ones. Go, pause, I will copy, this is Sept. This is row 4. Row 4, okay. I'm starting to hate it. Okay, treat us okay, but days. Alright, I gotta go get ready for D&D. So I'm gonna go give you guys 2 Havoc. I love you guys very much. I will be right back. And by right back, I mean I'll be over on Havoc's channel. So I hope you guys have fun over there. Have fun watching us play whatchamacallit, Dragonlance. I love you guys very much. Let me make sure I have his name right. Sometimes I'm wrong, and then I am stupid. Streams. Okay, I don't know if the caps matters. Bye, Lamb. Bye, Sheppy. Bye. Tomorrow we don't have D&D. God damn, I keep fucking it up. Tomorrow we don't have D&D, so we'll be playing more Doom, maybe a little bit of art, and then get high and watch TikTok together. But I love you guys so much. I will see you over there. Have a great night, day, or evening, wherever you are. Message me in the Discord if you want. Otherwise, see you tomorrow. Hi, DLS team, bro. Oh, Canadian. I will be there in D&D. You can watch me in D&D over there.